It's ironic in some ways that I wrote my dissertation on a early 17th century church council because I'm really a 16th century man. I was converted when I was a junior in high school, and the testimony of our dear Christian Reformed minister, born and raised in Byron Center, Michigan, was that I was the only high school student who had ever come to his parsonage and asked if I could borrow a copy of Calvin's Institutes.
Is there a plaque at the parsonage there?
No, but it shows how profoundly weird I was.
A little nerdy, yep.
Also profoundly shy, I should have mentioned that earlier. That was part of the hesitation about heading towards the ministry. Mary Ellen, my wife, takes all credit for rescuing me from shyness. People who have only known me in recent decades are surprised to learn that I was painfully shy. Although it remains true, most of the time I'd rather be with a book than with a person. But mine was a much more gradual and uncertain, I would say, from my point of view, path. When I graduated from college, I decided I would go to seminary, largely because I was interested in the studies, I think, without a really clear professional goal in mind. And then, as I was completing seminary, I was thinking very seriously about the ministry, but also had always had, even before my conversion, a love of history. So I actually applied to just one graduate program that I would like to do. And I sort of thought to myself, if I get in, I guess I'll go. And if I don't, then I'll pursue the pastoral ministry immediately. And I remember very vividly talking to friends in the hall of the seminary. And after I was facing this dilemma and said to them, how do you know God's will in these matters? And Meredith Kline was just walking by at that moment. And he looked at me and he said, you don't. And this was probably not a very Scottish Presbyterian answer, but actually I found it very good advice. You know, the Lord isn't going to write this on the wall. You have to pray about it and think about it and seek counsel about it and then make a decision. And so I got into the graduate program and I went, and then in the graduate program I was uncertain whether I wanted to teach in a university or maybe in a seminary. And just as I was completing the program, the graduate program, I was offered a job at Westminster in Philadelphia, so I thought I'd better do that. So the Lord really led me step by step without knowing where I was going. I'm not a very introspective person, and just went along with the ride. Well, one of the things I had studied in graduate school was a study of how frequently the sons of ministers became ministers historically, and how important that was to the life and continuity of Protestant churches. So I had that sort of in the back of my mind. But also in the back of my mind was my appreciation of my parents, who had not graduated from college, were not scholarly inclined. Their willingness to let me do my crazy thing of going to college, going to graduate school, reading weird books without stop. And I wanted to be sure my children, I hoped, would experience the same thing, to be what they wanted to be, not what I wanted them to be.